It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. And do we have a live for you? Guys, welcome back. It's Tuesday, which means obviously we're back to talk about 90 Day Fiance, The Other Way. And also we have hot, messy topics coming tonight. As of now, moving forward, guys, all of the lives will be subscribers only when it comes to the chat, when it comes to calling in. So it's subscribers only. So it's super simple. All you have to do is get subscribed. Don't forget to smash that like button. And don't forget to set your notifications because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. Now with that, let's welcome Jason from Down with Jason. Hi.
Hello.
Oh my
face is so close. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's going. I'm working hard over here. I'm excited for just lots of stuff. But I was actually really, a TLC and 90 Day Fiance is just like not my cup of tea. But I've kind of been enjoying the past 2 episodes of this season of The Other Way.
I think, it's so hard because we don't know if we're going to be invested in the cast members or if it's going to be a total bust because we just watched 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, and that whole season was a complete bust. But for The Other Way,
so bad.
It was so bad.
So bad.
But for The Other Way, things are starting to look like kind of come around. So I'm actually getting more and more excited. I'm hoping that they continue to keep our interest and watching these shit shows of couples. Like it makes me thankful for my relationship, our relationship. And the other part makes me like, what the f- is actually happening? Just to be fair. All right. Well, with that, guys, again, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. The first couple we're going to talk about, Jason, where do you want to start?
Can we start with Jenny and Sumit?
Yes, we can start with Jenny and Sumit. Okay. So Jenny and Sumit, obviously we see Sumit's parents are wanting to move into the house to teach her how to be a traditional Indian wife. Now, they do feel like she has aged out of that quite a bit. And it's apparently custom to bring in your family. And her friend was saying this when at the beginning of this episode, it's custom to bring in the family, bring in your in-laws, and let them teach you how to cook, how to clean, how to be a great traditional Indian wife. Do everything that you can. So Jenny's just going to have to roll with the punches, but I don't see this playing out in her favor.
No, I mean, like Celia just said in the chat, the kitchen was a disaster. It was a mess. It was a complete mess.
But also, like, when they're making her run around and clean everything, I'm like, Sumit, you can clean too. What the hell is Sumit doing? What is his job?
I know, it is a very, like, the women do the work, basically, especially in the home. Now, it is a cultural thing, too. In India, you have generations of families who live together. I have friends who live like that. And it can be, that's kind of amazing. It's like Sumit's dad said last episode, there aren't many, like, old homes where they have like, retirement homes or like places you put old people because the families, take care of each other and they pass things down to, another generation. And she's just making sure, listen, if you're with my son and you're going to be the wife and you want to be a part of this culture, that's what Jenny has to realize too. She's not in Palm Springs. She is in India. Then, Sumit's mom wants to just to make sure that you can take care of a household, that you can take care of my son. If you want me to accept you, these are the things you have to do.
I have to say really quick, because when it came to the conversation, I love to play devil's advocate on here. And when it came to the conversation that Jenny had with her friend, when they're sitting there, what was it? Yogurt with spices and water?
Lassi.
Okay.
Lassi, yeah.
They're sitting there enjoying their lassi, and her friend made a good point. It was like, wait a minute, Jenny, this is an opportunity, because Jenny's like, I'm American. I'm not used to this. I don't want to have the in-laws in the house. I don't want to go down this road. And she's like, well, that doesn't matter because you're not in America anymore. You're in India. So this is how things work around here. You kind of have to go with the customs and the culture, which, to be fair, is true. We see it on Happily Ever After all the time, where different Americans bring their spouses or their partners over to America and they try to push what it's like to live in America on that person. We see it all the time on 90 Day Fiance. So what would make Jenny's case any different?
I mean, none. But I mean, that's something you're prepared for, I would think. I mean, listen, they've been doing this for almost a decade, right? That's a very long time. So either you're going to stick around and keep doing it, I mean, or you're just going to leave, you know?
Well,
Like,
and
what?
that's what I think too. Is like I don't see her leaving, but it was actually funny and entertaining to watch her conversing back and forth with the mom, and the mom is like telling her how ridiculous she thinks she is. Like she's like, "Wow, you can't do anything, you can't cook," and Jenny's like,
Isn't that's next week's, right?
Yes,
That was
that's
in the
next week.
preview. I cannot wait for that. I think it's so funny.
Poor
I don't
Jenny.
know. If I was Jenny, I'd be out. I would have been out a long time ago.
Okay. Well, before we move on to the next couple, is there anything else that you have to say about Ginny and Sumit?
No, it's so ridiculous to watch. Like, it is so ridiculous to watch this woman who's lived an entire life, like, now try to, like, bow down and do all this shit. And if she doesn't want to do it, I don't know why she's there.
Right. No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next couple. Guys, I dropped the call-in link. If you'd like to call in, you're more than welcome. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed, as this is a subscribers-only live chat, just like Hot Messy Topics. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next couple, because this couple, what the hell are we dealing with here? We have Steven and Alina. Steven, this guy is the biggest hypocrite ever. And I don't have anything negative to say when it comes to religion. Honestly, I didn't grow up in a very religious household. I went to church maybe a couple of times, and it was a Baptist church. The preacher or pastor started speaking in tongues and then told my dad, if we don't show up 3 days a week.
Not tongues.
Yeah, tongues. And if we don't show up at least 3 days a week and we don't donate to the church, that our whole family is going to hell. So my dad was working overtime. He is a lineman. And when the hurricanes and stuff were coming, my dad was literally working over 100 hours a week. So my dad was like, I can't make it 3 days a week to church. And he's like, okay, well, then your family's going to hell. And my dad was like, this is not the church for us. So watching this behavior, then we found out our pastor was hooking up with one of the other members of the congregation's teenage daughter. So it's like the hypocrisy here, and the same hypocrisy with Steven. Steven is sitting here, having a conversation with Alina and her mom. Alina's mom is visiting. I love her. And he's letting Alina's mom know, I think for the sake of our future, for the sake of wanting to have kids with Alina, you should probably convert to Mormonism. This is the stuff that I don't like.
And that's not how you do it. Okay, listen, I grew up Mormon. All right. I'm not a Mormon anymore, but there's always good and bad in religion, just like there always is good and bad in places you live and people you meet. This is so hypocritical that he's putting so much pressure on this girl, on this 20-year-old girl. She has her whole life in front of her. She is a far better catch than he is. What she needs to do is listen to her mom and get the out of there immediately. He is insane. It's not only his little quirks and habits that she has to deal with. It's also competing with this religion that is strict. And by the way, it depends who you ask Mormon wise, if you can have, caffeine. Every Mormon I knew drank caffeine growing up.
Well,
some would be a little more, a little more strict with kind of the guidelines. And I understand, the Mormons absolutely believe that your body is a temple and you should treat it as so. But if he's not treating his body like a temple, let her drink her damn wine.
And her coffee. But,
and her coffee.
One of the funny things that people don't know, because we've never talked about it on here, I don't know if you remember, but the first time that I met your mom and your dad, I went and got donuts. Do you remember? I woke up super early in the morning. We arrived in DC. We just moved back from Thailand to LA. We drove across the country. We went to DC to go visit your family. And I went and got donuts and coffee. And you were like, no. They don't drink coffee. And I was like, don't drink coffee. Okay,
they don't care.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I was trying to make a good impression. So I was trying to get everybody coffee and donuts. And then only to find out there's no Cokes, there's no soda, there's no caffeine, there's no coffee. So it was a learning curve for me. But your dad, your mom, everybody was so sweet. And they were just kind of laughing like, oh, you don't know. But it wasn't like, Adam, you should stop drinking coffee. It was nothing like that. Your mom was like, oh, this fool. You know what I mean?
Listen, I drink more coffee and wine, for all of them. But it is very different. Oh my, you and I kind of did a 90-day fiance, right? It was just after a few months that we met, we went to Thailand for 5-6 months.
Yeah, which is,
Yeah,
hey
we
guys,
did a
if you
little.
want to figure out if you're supposed to be with somebody, go ahead and move across the country, move across to a completely different country in general, and you will figure out if you guys are supposed to be together, because those were some of the most trying times in our relationship. I had a calendar out. I didn't know signing ourselves up for 4 or 5 months to go to Thailand. After 2 weeks, I was like, okay, Jason, I'm ready to go. You're like, no, bitch. We signed up for.
I mean, listen,
what
a choice of a country to go, when you've only been out of the country once to Mexico, which, it's no different than some of the other places, in Southern California or South Florida. Mexico feels very much like, I don't know, when I go there, I don't feel like I'm going to another country. I just feel like they speak a different language. I have a lot of fun when I go to Mexico. But to go to Thailand, of all places, if you haven't been anywhere else, it can be a little bit of a culture shock. And of course, we were living in close quarters. And
I think
no, but just to get back to Steven, like really quickly, I really didn't appreciate how he was, just as a former Mormon, how he just kind of like put that expectation, that weight onto Alina's mom's shoulders, that if you don't convert to the church, what about the kids that we have? It would just be better for them. And it's like, get your shit together first, and then you can work on your own, work on your relationship, but get your shit together. What is that saying? You can't throw stones at glass houses.
Yeah, don't throw stones at glass houses when your house is made of glass too. But one of the things that bothered me about this conversation was the fact he was being so hypocritical. But one thing that I loved about the conversation is Alina is not trying to hide it from her mom. And I think that's so important. I learned this, and I think we both did as we've evolved in our relationship. When you have your little fights and tidbits, you don't share everything with your family, because you eventually move on as a couple, but then your family, they don't get the apologies and they are stuck with the residual feelings. Well, for this couple, she's about to make a very important decision. By the way, guys, 100 people in the room, go ahead, smash that like button. Let's get to 150. But she's about to make an important decision that's going to impact the rest of her life. Getting married is not, it's nothing to just bat your eyes at. And she's like, hold on, wait a minute, mom. This is what's going on. He doesn't want you, or he doesn't want me to drink coffee. He wants you to convert, but he doesn't respect the commandment of chastity, or the chastity.
It's the law. It's the law. So like there are different laws.
You said that too. I wanted to ask you about that.
Law of chastity. The word of wisdom. The word of wisdom is taking care of your body. The law of chastity is also the same thing, just not having sex before marriage. It's just there are certain kind of guidelines the church gives you, but it's just so funny because one is bigger than the other. Like he has broken some. When he said he kissed 100 women and kind of hooked up with 24 so 24 women, and then kind of like he's like afraid to say it. He's like intercourse, like with 4 people. And then he's sitting here like badgering Alina when Alina is doing do you know how hard it is to convert? How hard it is to take on a new religion and take on like learning things and having faith in what you're doing? Give her a break, dude. He needs to go sit down and repent.
Honestly, I'm not mad at anything that you're saying. And, I was hopeful until we found out, and a subscriber sent me a photo of Alina and Steven seen together out of the United States. So obviously they're still running around together. I don't know what the status of the relationship is at this point.
But the status is the paycheck and the whole what am I trying to say? The paycheck and the attention that the show brings.
Like Corey and Evelyn.
Like Corey and Evelyn, it's like, we know you're toxic. You guys hate each other. Now we hate watching you. So just be done. Whereas like you have a story like Kenny and Armando, which this is a story that I'm actually enjoying following. I don't feel like it's overly produced or pushed in our face. I really like, watching their journey. I wish we could find more things like that. But now with 10,000 90-day fiance, the other way, single life, second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt shows that they have, it doesn't stop. They need this cast. They need these people.
Okay, so right now we've covered Ginny and Sumit, and then also we've covered Steven and Alina. I have Ebony Dix in the room. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up to chime in. And Ebony always keeps it short and sweet with us. I noticed that last night. Last night she came
When she
on
was trolling me.
She came on to read you up and down as a troll, and I was here for every minute. My jaw dropped. I didn't know what the heck that she was going to say, but she said it. So Ebony comes in with her unfiltered opinions, which we definitely appreciate on hot, messy topics. But now she's here to give us her unfiltered opinion on 90 Day Fiance. Guys, go ahead and smash that like button, and let's welcome Ebony Dix. Hi.
Hey, Ebony.
Oh, you're muted. You're still muted.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, no. For some reason, it's still muted. Yeah, we can't hear you. Do you want me to drop you down and then call back in? Okay. All right, here. I'm going to go ahead and kick from the studio and then just call back in. I dropped the link. All right. So getting back to it, though, Steven and Alina, I don't get the relationship. I don't get the couple, but we'll see what happens and how this plays out. When her mom is prompting her to go back to Russia with her, I'm sitting there looking at her, looking at this young, beautiful, stunning girl. And I'm like, please listen to your mom. Go home. Go home. You're beautiful. You're artistic. You're creative. You're educated. You're willing to change your whole life for this guy who just dropped a major bomb.
For this guy.
He didn't say
for this guy. He's not even like a 7.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you saw photos of, no, but honestly, you saw photos of him before with like short hair and kind of a little more put together. Now I feel like, I don't know. And even just the way he describes, like, I can't.
We're trying to be as nice as possible. Yeah, we'll try to keep it clean and as nice as possible. But Steven, you're definitely not a front runner in my book, and I hope Alina leaves you. I'm sorry, but let's go ahead and move on to the next couple because I do want to talk about Ariela and Biniyam. Now, Ariela has decided to take her baby and go back to the United States. Ebony Dix is back, so we're going to bring her back up in a second. Has decided to take her baby back to the United States because the poor baby has a hernia. And that makes me so sad. Little baby Avi. So she has better health care. She has insurance, and she's hopeful that she can get the proper surgery and get it for a lot cheaper. I think what she's doing is incredible. I think that, she's taking care of her child. And also, it's fair if she's from America. She wants to go back and visit her family in Jersey. Go back and visit your family in Jersey. I'm not mad at this. But when she's talking to Biniyam, and he's like, oh, well, I'm, around with the friends and I can't stay home. Again, trying to play devil's advocate. I'm like, well, that's fair because being at home might be depressing. But then also, what friends are you out with, Biniyam? Because we met your ex. We know that you have a little bit of a shady past, friend.
He has a shady past, and it seems like when he has the opportunity, he likes to be free. And he uses that kind of blame like on Ariela, saying like, well, my friends, they don't want to see me sad. I'm here alone. It's like, hey, grow a pair, dude. Like, your wife took your child, who, by the way, Avi has the most beautiful eyes I've seen.
He's such a cute
The most beautiful eyes, and his smile and the light around him is just so precious. Yeah. But, like, she's doing what is best. Her dad is a doctor. Obviously, her dad and her mom both work in the medical field. If I had insurance, if I knew, my family was surrounded by medical people, yeah, I would want to probably do the same thing for my baby. I don't know what he's up to. Do you know what I didn't like so much, though? Is the sister.
The sister was incredibly disrespectful. I get
completely disrespectful.
I mean, she is very one-dimensional in her thought process when she's thinking and saying, like, you need to bring back Avi to the United States. You need to think about his education. I understand all of that.
Well, did you hear her also say, you've done the thing, you went to Ethiopia, you had the kid, okay, when are you going to come back to real life? Girl, that's real life is happening all over the world for different people in different places. Just because she's choosing to live in Ethiopia doesn't mean it's not real life.
I'm
sure if that's the sister's house, by the way, she needs to clean like Jenny needs to clean.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, let's see if
fix your own first.
Mic is working, and we'll bring her back up. Let's see. Hi, Ebony. No, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you. Okay, so who did you want to chime in on? Ginny and Sumit, Steven and Alina, or Ariela and Biniyam?
Okay, well now we're in Ariel and Biniyam, and I just want to just say, if I was Biniyam, I would have said, well, since you just made that decision without me, you could decide how to get me to go with you. I don't think she should have made that decision by herself. I really don't think that was really a decision she should have made by herself. Something you talked to, they should have talked about that before she decided to just take their baby out of the country. She would have flipped if he would have done that. She would have flipped.
Right.
I would say, if you was going to take my baby out of the country, you could figure out how to get me out of the country too. You're not going to allow, because he technically was born in the Africa,
Right.
in Eritrea. He was technically born there. So I would have been like, figure it out. And don't take my baby from me, because that fear is there. And he was crying more for his baby than he was crying for her. So I really feel so bad for him. And I don't know. I know we're going to have more to their stories later on in the week, but I just think that he should have just literally said, you're not taking the baby without me.
And I feel like he has very obvious PTSD from his last wife doing that to him and taking the baby. But, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I know that they started the K-1 visa process for him, and then COVID kind of shut down everything. And like Ariela said, they took our payment, but we don't even know if they're continuing the process at this point because of COVID. I get all of that. But I also agree with you in the sense that if Jason and I had a kid and Jason was from a different country and you just decide to take our kid and just fly away, and I don't know, there's no return ticket.
Without even consulting with me, you'd be so upset.
And we're in a pandemic.
That's where it got me completely too. Okay, she booked a ticket without having the conversation.
Just take the pandemic out. You just be upset with taking your baby. Like that's part of you. And you just super be upset. I just don't think that was a right idea. I get where she was coming from. But no, not with the mic discussion, without consulting with me. And I just want her to consult with me. And I would be like, well, since you think that way, hang on, you're not leaving this country without me or with our baby. You're not doing it.
Right.
That you can go.
Okay. Well, I do want to ask you aside from Ariela and Biniyam, what do you think about the in-laws moving in with Ginny and Sumit?
I think she should have did that. I think that's a good idea. Why not ruffle her feathers? You're not coming in. No.
This mom is on a mission. She's like, I am going to make sure I run your ass out of here. And the
papa too. Don't forget the dad is on a mission, because the dad had to agree with the mother to go live with. No, the dad had to agree with the mom to go live with their. But I think that was a good idea. They're not going to get married, but I think that was a good idea. I really do. That's perfect. Jenny is not getting married with them. She needs to know what kind of family she's getting into. It's not going to happen. They're making it really hard.
They say, no shade here at all, but they say you can teach an old dog new tricks, and that's exactly what Sumit's mom is there to do.
What
I want to ask you,
is he teaching her? I forget.
How to clean her damn kitchen.
Yeah, how to clean her damn kitchen and how to make some food. But I do have a question, Ebony. Do you have in-laws?
No, I know I'm single.
Oh, if you had in-laws and your in-laws did not like you the same way that Sumit's parents do not like Ginny, would you let them move in?
My personal opinion, I couldn't be there. For I couldn't be there, because there's no way I could be a part of a family who does not like me. I love how hearing you and Jason banter in a very positive way, but his in-laws like you and vice versa. His mom likes him. And when Jason went away from that weekend, you called your mom, was like, oh my gosh, it was the cutest thing ever. And so she likes him. So you can tell your family likes your significant other. I could never be a part of a family that doesn't like me. That's just how uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't protect her. He does not protect her at all. So, but I'm going to get off here.
I love
you really do make it short and sweet.
Make an exit. Point. You come in, you give us the reads, you say what you got to say, and then you're like, I'm out. Bye. All right, Ebony. Well, we'll see you super soon. I hope we get to see you.
You guys are great. See you soon.
Thank you. See you on Hot Messy Topics, hopefully.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye, Ebony.
Oh, she's great. She's always like quick with the ins and outs, huh?
I love it.
She's like, let's do the damn thing. Let's get to the point. Let's talk. Okay. All right. So next I want to move on, because I don't want to talk too much about Steven and Alina, or also Ginny and Sumit, or even who was the first, Ariela and Biniyam. But I do want to talk about Kenneth and Armando. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button. Kenny and Armando are trying to add more kids to the situation. Well, At least Kenny is, or not Kenny, Armando. And when they went to this orphanage, they went to an orphanage that has children who are HIV positive. And it struck a chord with Kenny. Kenny was letting us know 30 years ago he had a lot of friends who were part of the LGBTQIA plus community who came down with HIV and they lost their lives. So he feels like this is a moment where he can kind of celebrate a kid who was born with HIV. And it was interesting to listen to his perspective on it. And I really, honestly, I saw anybody who adopts and gives a child a chance, that's so heartwarming to me, because Jason's dad was adopted. My mom was adopted. Jason's sister was adopted. So many different people that we know. And my mom used to have breakdown moments where my dad would have to be honest with her. And she used to cry wanting to know, I don't know who my mom and my dad are. They gave me up. And my dad used to say, well, you have to look at it from a different way. You're looking at it like they gave you up, but I was born into my family. Someone chose you to be a part of theirs. And how special is that? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I thought the whole conversation, I did get a little because remember last time Kenny was being a little selfish in the way, and that word is probably not the right word, but just kind of like he had needs and wants that he wanted Armando to communicate to his father. Right. About the wedding. But now Armando's like, I want a kid. I want this. But then he's got to also remember, when you chose Kenny, you knew how old Kenny was. Not that he's an old man at all. He's older. Does he want to, he's going to take on raising Hannah. Does he want to have a baby?
Well, and that's true. And we know the preview for next week's episode, he's going to find out that he's going to be a grandfather all over again. So he's at that point where his kids are grown, his kids are having kids, he's still a grandpa. And for Armando, he's looking at this like, I really feel like if we have a kid with your bloodline, Kenny, then it will unify our families. And when he thinks about having a kid, adopting a kid who's HIV positive, he's not looking at it from the perspective of, just giving a kid a life. He's also thinking about the backlash he'll receive from his family for taking on a child who is HIV positive. And when he's giving that part of the argument, I completely agree with Kenny. If you want to adopt, then leave that perspective out of it. Who gives a shit what your family thinks? Right?
Yeah. It's unfortunate, because it's not these kids' choices that they were born with, a disease. A lot of people are born with different things, but I really enjoy watching their story because they bring awareness to so many things. I just really enjoy it. But I don't know if I'm even answering your question, but I don't think a kid is a great idea.
I think at this point in time, I think like Kenny said, he's at a different age, and he said it's not off the table. But when they talk about the process of adoption, they learned that it could take up to 4 years to adopt one of these children. And watching them run out and like hug, and that was so sad because they just want. I don't understand why the process is that long. I don't even know why I'm getting emotional. I think I need sleep, but I don't even know why the process would be that long, why it would be 4 years. And just watching how excited they were, thinking that this could be the family that I go home to, that it was special. And I hope you would hope that all of these kids get adopted, but really you have to take into consideration the age difference. And Kenny going into his 60s, knowing that when the kid turns 20, he could easily be 80. That's a big deal. He's not going to be out in the yard, like throwing a football or going to his daughter's sports games, he could, but it's going to be a different level of energy as he gets older.
Also, I don't think having a kid with Kenny's bloodline is going to unify your family. I don't know if that's maybe something that's stuck in Armando's head. I have many people in my life who are not blood, but are my family, so I feel like that is not really a reason. But also, if you want Hannah to grow up with other children and siblings and stuff, why is a move to Florida out of?
Well, I think about that too, because he has grandchildren. So Armando can just skip a beat, go straight to being a grandfather, like a step grandfather. But also, I feel like Armando is looking at this from the wrong perspective. He's talking about how He doesn't know how his family would react to an HIV positive child. He doesn't, in his mind, he thinks he wants to have a kid that comes from the same bloodline as Kenny because it'll unify the family and it'll make his family understand more. All I'm hearing is his family, his family, his family, which really makes me sad because it sounds like he's really just trying to live and appease for his family.
Yes. I mean, yes and no. Also, too, he's making leaps and bounds with his family because just last week, it was Kenny having issues in the way that Armando was dealing with his family. And some people, baby steps are needed, and some people move a little faster. And I think to where we got with, our Armando's dad was a great place. But, now if Kenny's being patient, maybe Armando needs to sit back and listen. I mean, listen, like I just said, you knew what you were getting into when you were stepping in a relationship with someone much older than you.
Right.
Who has a family, who has kids, who has grandkids. I don't know if I was that age, if I would want to raise another child or baby. And he's already taking on Hannah, which she looks like probably the best child to raise and take care of. She seems so respectful and so lovely. It's an interesting situation.
If you think about it too, because we cover Real Housewives and we cover 90 Day, a lot of different couples around the world are having these conversations, especially as they get older. We're seeing Jenny Wynn on Salt Lake City. She's having this conversation. She feels like she's getting to a different age where she doesn't want to be chasing around a toddler. I get it. These are tougher conversations. We've had the conversation multiple times, like these are tough conversations to have. But at the end of the day, you can't make the decision that, you want to selfishly make. Like Armando can't be like, I selfishly want to have another baby. I'm earning to have another baby, because it's not just about you. If this child grows up and turns 20 and loses a parent due to old age, or you know what I mean? You don't know what's going to happen. And you have to think about all of those. Like Kenny said, what if something happens to me when I turn 70 and the baby is 10 years old, and then all of a sudden you're left raising this child on your own? You have to think about these things, and there are real factors that play into bringing another life in.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well,
I agree.
Sorry to get emotional.
Paul says the adoption process is daunting. Yeah, it is, and it definitely can be. I've had friends who have adopted with no issue, no problem, and I've had other friends who have they can't win, with the system, and it's sad because so many kids need homes.
Yeah.
In our own backyard.
Yep. All right. So moving on to the next topic, because I know this isn't going to get me emotional at all. Let's talk about Corey and Evelyn. So Corey admitted that he cheated on Evelyn, and I've been reading fan comments and they're like, well, he didn't cheat because she broke up with him. Well, he was still married. She didn't know what he was doing. And then to cap it all off, he came back to Ecuador and lied straight to her face, saying, I did not hook up with anyone. I tried to hook up. I couldn't get it up. Nothing happened. We didn't have a relationship, nothing like that. Only to find out, yes, you did, mother. You had a relationship. And now he's trying to get her back. He's groveling for her. And he's trying to bring her flowers.
She hates you. She hated you before she knew about the cheating. She doesn't want you.
I've never seen
honestly
someone hate her significant other so much.
It's gross. I want them to just go away. Go your separate ways. And BS, you didn't get it up. I'm sure you were just fine.
Yes. Yeah. And she even says to him, she's like, listen, Corey, I don't want you to stay here. I want you to sign divorce papers. He's like, no, I'm not signing divorce papers. She can piss off. Like, it's not happening. I'm not signing divorce papers. I'm going to fight for this relationship. Well, were you thinking about that when you were sleeping and waking up in somebody else's bed? And when she let him know, and I thought this was very respectful, because I've seen this in my family. I've had friends who have had to deal with this. When one person decides to exit a relationship and the other person does not want that, they can't accept that outcome. A lot of times you have to get the law involved. You have to get police involved. And it's a really unfortunate situation, but she's giving him the warning, letting him know, leave me alone, sign the divorce papers, or I'm going to have to call the police on you.
And pissed off the family, especially the sisters. They found out you were already married, and now you're going to throw this cherry on top. It's not. That's not going to be a great situation. You're going to be battling so many new challenges now if you want to stay, because you're going to spend probably the rest of your life earning that trust back from Evelyn, trying to get any kind of, love and relationship from her family. It's just not going to happen. And like, if it was that easy to leave, I know they were broken up or whatever, but like, if you're married, you're married. And I don't think that discussion was ever fully maybe discussed. I don't know. It seemed like he blamed it on quarantine and they weren't getting along. They're so full of shit, both of them. Excuses, just so many excuses.
Well, before we move on, because there's not much to say about Corey and Evelyn, but before we do move on, do you think had he have actually been honest in the beginning and told her, yes, I hooked up with somebody else, that it would have gone the way that she's saying? Like, had he have been honest and truthful, that she would have been less reactive to this information?
No.
Okay. Well, we do see next week they're meeting with a couples therapist. So obviously she is coming around in some sense. They're trying to fix their relationship. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But I am over Corey and Evelyn. I don't know about you guys. I'm done with this couple. Move on.
No, push them on to one of the 30 other 90 Day Fiance shows, please. Where did they go after they retire from The Other Way? That's where we need them to go.
They join Big Ed on The Single Life.
Oh, God.
Yes.
I can't believe they kept him on TV.
Well, yeah, I know. He's a weirdo. Just to be fair. I want to move on to Ellie and Victor, because Ellie and Victor, they are in Colombia, okay? And Ellie has the hard conversation that she's been waiting to have with Victor, which was, well, we have to talk about it. I understand that we're experiencing devastation. The hurricane came through. Everything's costing a lot of money. But if I'm going to pour all of this money into our relationship, because right now he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have any way of making money. If she's going to pour all of her hard-earned money into this relationship, her time, change her life, move across the world, not really across the world, but across the world, move from America to Colombia, then she wants an honest answer of, what the hell were you thinking when you were stepping out on me?
And I agree.
I agree too.
I agree. I understand there's been so much devastation. Most of his family has lost their homes. Theirs was severely damaged. This is not great timing, I think, for her to come down and deal with what she's dealing with and support him through this is kind of her way of saying, look, I'm here, but at the same time, I need an explanation.
Right.
Before I buy your $200 drill.
And he's, this is master of manipulation. I'm watching it. I've lived through it. I've seen it. And when he's saying, oh, you're going to listen to everything that she's told you. And she's like, well, she told me you were asking her for a motorcycle.
She didn't have to tell her anything.
Right. I see. And that's the thing. Is like, I understand there are vindictive people out there who will do anything just because, like, say there was somebody who wanted to be with you, your ex wanted to be with you again. And I could see where your ex could potentially message me and be like, oh yeah, well, I saw, Jason in New York, but just based off of seeing your Instagram and seeing that you were in New York, we hung out. So boom. And that could cause
I am not Randall Emmett. So you don't have to worry about me being in a different city with other people. But I just know, like what you were saying with the kind of the manipulation thing, is he's over it. So he's like, oh, well, I can't do anything. I'm sorry. It was really messed up. But like, come on, let's, it's like, that's harder for someone else who wasn't around when this happened, who you didn't tell the truth to, who had to find this out through someone else. And now who is down there helping you, supporting you, taking care of you financially, wanting to rebuild this home. You owe her an explanation. You owe her a much bigger apology, and you earn her trust. Now, this is a situation where she's willing to put herself back in the situation, whereas like Evelyn and Corey that like give up, But this is a situation where he has the opportunity to rebuild trust with Ellie. That's why she's there. But at the same time, he needs to kind of be more open to what she's saying and be maybe more open to show, some kind of gestures that would make her feel better. And that's acknowledging it.
Though she had a good question. By the way, you look so tan.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I need more sun.
Oh, okay.
Friends. It's just not. Is it out
but
today? Yeah.
She did have a good question though. She's like, would you have told me had she have not contacted me, or would I have never known that you were having a whole other relationship with someone else? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, had he have been able to get away with it, had nobody have contacted you, hell no, he wouldn't have told you. You're the bank.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to go piss off the bank. And then another thing that frustrates me is because I'm so frugal. A lot of you guys don't know me in real life, but Jason can tell you I'm a very frugal person. I count dimes, dollars. Like I live like that because I don't care if I make $100 a month or if I made $10,000 a month. I'm going to be just as frugal because I know the value of a dollar. And watching, him go into the hardware store, look at drills, pick up the most expensive drill, then say we
and
need
just
a
say
generator.
this one, and just say this one. Not even like, is there another option? Is there something cheaper that can do the job? Because of course, I don't know.
But even when he's like, we need a generator, she's like, wait a minute, what do you mean need a generator? Like all of the prices are inflated, obviously. And just like they were, for people who don't know too, when we went to Thailand, our friend would buy a car in Thailand, like let's say a Kia Rio that would cost $10,000 here in the States. But because they have to transport these cars over to Thailand, that same car could cost $20,000. So the prices are inflated. And the same thing it looks like with Colombia and the tools and certain things. It looks like the prices are just a little bit different. They're a little bit more expensive.
Especially after a hurricane or a natural disaster,
Right.
It's going to be absolutely inflated.
Right. So I just hate the fact that, she is the bank. He's not understanding how she's worked her whole life. She's worked her ass off in order to get to where she is financially. And he just looks at it like, well, this is what we need to spend. This costs this. It is what it is. What do you want me to say? And then he's like pouting like he's disappointed. But yeah, of course if she's not mindful of money and she goes and takes your lead and you guys spend all of the money, then what are you both going to do? Right?
I don't know.
All right. Well,
that's interesting. I'm more curious to see where they're gonna go than I am, Corey and Evelyn or Steven and Alina. It's they seem Ellie is smart, and even she said it herself. It's always in the back of her head if he's using her for money. That's always in the back of her head. So She said it,
and I can't say I blame her. And I also, I really can't blame her after finding out that he committed infidelity. She was in a full-on relationship. Same thing with Steven and Alina. Steven, he can give us his BS excuses. Victor can give us his BS excuses. You can tell he's a very good-looking man. Not Steven, not so much. Sorry, guys. He's quirky and nice, but, Victor's a very good-looking man. He's very charismatic. You can tell he's very charming. And Ellie is and Biniyam. But when you cross that line and you commit the infidelity and you everything at that point will be a red flag. If you enter a relationship like this and that happens in the early stages, I don't see any point to continue to move on. I feel like once you know that this partner, this person you plan on spending the rest of your life with is capable of doing this, just scrap it. Save yourself the headache because now that's going to be a red flag. You're always going to worry about this person walking down the street. Now you're worried about that person using you just for money because you know what they're capable of. It's like you're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. And, and Ellie's already had to deal with so many situations in her life with losing everyone, so does she need to go through this again? But again, like Jenny, this is going to be her choice. So I'm curious to see how much work Victor is going to put into this.
Okay. Well, coming up in the preview that we saw for next week, we know that Corey and Evelyn again are going to a therapist to see if they can repair their relationship, which another one, let's call it a day. Evelyn, you don't even like his ass. Send him home. And then we know that Jenny will be learning from Sumit's mom.
I cannot wait.
She's verbally ripping her a new one, telling her how just useless she is. And Jenny's sitting there with this smile like, she's talking to me. And she's like, oh, you're so just, where are you? Like you don't know shit. And Jenny's just like, uh-huh. I'm like, oh gosh. And then we find out that Kenny finds out that he's going to be a grandpa again. And he reveals to Armando how homesick he actually is. I would really love to see a version of this 90 Day Fiance where Armando entertains the idea of going to the United States. Now, I don't know if COVID's playing into it the same way it's playing in with Ariela and Biniyam. You know, is it stopping the K-1 visa process? Have they even applied for the K-1 visa process? Are they trying to get out of Mexico? Which, by the way, their pad in Mexico, their home, the view, they're not living a bad life. They're living a great life.
Super lovely. But one thing I do have to point out is they have to drive so far everywhere. We always see Kenny in his car or Kenny and Armando in there. It's just like, you can tell like there's just like a road. It's probably similar to like a PCH, like the one in Malibu.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like, okay, you live here in Malibu, but you need to drive like 10 miles down this way or whatever. But it definitely doesn't look like anything is very convenient. Like, well, I'm just going to run to the store. I'll be back in like 2 hours. You know?
Right. But you're probably not going to get those views for the same amount in Tampa. Just saying. Just saying. All right. So, Kathy, thank you so much for the super chat. Lisa H just said they do come to the U.S. Lisa, I'm interested in hearing more about this. I have to reach out to Max, the celeb guy, and also Katrina from Frauded Media. I am curious because I would love to see, and I would love for that to be documented. I want to see, how does Hannah react to Florida? How does Armando react to Florida? Florida, it's like a melting pot of different ethnicities, different, cultures. It's very diverse here. And even when you grow up, like I can tell you, going to school in Florida, and I know this is a lot of schools in the United States, but in Florida, you have to learn Spanish. You have to take Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. And normally some high schools even make you take Spanish freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year, all the way to Spanish 4. Now, for me, when I was learning Spanish, I was in the era of the iPhone 3. So I would sit there with my translator and type it in and try to learn Spanish. And I would be taking a test and it would say something in Spanish. I would type it in, it would convert it to English, and I would pass my test. Until finally my teacher caught on that I was using my iPhone. She took it away. My dad had to come to school, get my iPhone back. And then she said, you know what, guys? Thanks to Adam, and the class hated me. Thanks to Adam, we're no longer doing written tests. Instead, you guys are all going to get up in front of the room and have a 3 to 5 minute conversation in front of me in Spanish. So there you go, Adam. Thanks for ruining it for everyone. I was like, gosh, I hate this woman, but she's so smart. Okay. I mean, it was just, I love sharing stupid little random stories. But Kathy said, I love watching you guys every day. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Kathy.
Hola. Yes, we used to go around and I'd be, well, anyways. Jason, with that, what are you looking forward to most next week?
Jenny. I want to see the circus that is going to be Jenny and Sumit's family. I want to see them live together. It's going to be like crazy Big Brother. So I'm excited to watch that.
Oh gosh.
That's about it. I'm not really looking forward to like anything else. I do have to say I never look forward to this show because it's usually a disappointment, but the past 2 episodes have been great and I'm actually looking forward to the next one. So
I also agree with Jenny. I wouldn't be giving up my bed to you. Sorry, Jason's mom. You're not getting my bed, even though my mom just came down and she took our bed, but we were in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, but we were gone.
Yeah, we were gone. Because if my mom comes down and we're here, you take the guest bedroom, and Jenny and Sumit also have a guest bedroom. So why not just take the guest bedroom? Why do you want to waller in art sheets? I don't get it, but okay. I guess it's a sign of respect. It will be comedic relief, Lisa H. Okay.
Completely.
Team Jenny, Crystal Self. We love your stories, guys. Thank you. Oh, Adam. And Adam, I can't wait to tell my daughter that little random on Spanish. Oh, thank you, Miracle Love. I appreciate you. And I would never live with my in-laws. Well, we've tried it a little bit. Not really. We haven't ever tried. I can't say
if there was space, you know what I mean? If we had like a gigantic house, I have friends who have a multi-generational home. It's just their culture and it works really well. It's kind of cool. I don't know if that is for everyone, but it's funny because I always say people don't know this, but why would they? Because we don't have these conversations on YouTube. But my mom and Jason's mom, eventually Jason and I will be buying a house, and when we do, whatever extra room we have or whatever the house looks like, we know we'll have more space, right? And my mom always says, well, tell Jason's mom that is my room. And when I talk to Jason's mom, she's like,
well, you're going to have to tell your mom because I'm coming down to Florida and I need a room. So they always go back and forth and tell us
It's
both.
so funny. And then
That's
we
my
talk
room.
and we're like, we didn't invite any of you.
I was about to say, I love you both, but nobody invited you to live with us. I even see, I know my mom's watching this right now. Mom, I love you, but you know, like it's maybe one day we'll win the lottery and we'll just buy them their own separate house and they can live together like Grace and Frankie. All right, guys. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you so much. I tell my son I get the pool house. Oh, Alabama Camper knows too. She tells her son she gets the pool house. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to all of our mods, super chats, super stickers. Thank you to everyone engaging in the chat and also participating in our subscribers only live. Guys, we'll be back in 5 hours for Hot Messy Topics. I don't know what the hell
only
I'm doing
5. I feel like I look so much forward. I can't even talk. I thought Mercury retrograde was gone. I know Adam has me at the gym at 7 in the morning, no matter what time we go to bed. I went to bed at like 1:30 last night because I'm trying to get this show ready for my channel, and it's gonna be so amazing. But yeah, which is funny because it's already time for Hot Messy Topics again, which is my favorite time of the night. And I think sometimes it's very different because I read some of the comments and I think your viewers are a little confused on certain things because this is a very unfiltered, fun conversation. It gets out of control. I don't even think we make it through like half the topics we're going to talk about because we just get on these tangents. It is a lot of fun, but if you don't want a lot of people talking all the time, then maybe it's not the best.
No, it's fun. It's a fun moment. And it is funny because I wake Jason up, and ever since my accident, I wake Jason up and I send him to the gym, and then I'm out here walking the dogs, just trying to like simply walk around and get whatever exercise I can, cardio. Jason, I'm sending him off to go do like legit workouts, and then he comes back and I'm like, okay, is it time to work? What do we do? Do you want to get some coffee? What? And he's like, why do you do this to me? Like,
I know I felt like I gave the whole work hard, play hard thing up when I left Cirque du Soleil, but now you have me back on it. So it's like, okay, wake up, go to the gym, get everything done, get everything we have to do in the house done, get everything we have to do in our channels done, and then we can enjoy our wine and our friends on Hot Messy Topics. So yes. I do like that.
Yes, I don't let you sleep, just to be fair. Okay.
That's very true.
All right, guys. So we'll see you so very soon. Jason, can you let us know where we can find you?
Of course, guys, you can find me at Down with Jason. I'm still relatively new. So many things are changing. So if you want to go subscribe and you like entertainment, some royal news, and some other things we have coming up, please go do that. I do have a show starting on Tuesday. If you do like and enjoy watching Below Deck, we are doing Anchor Watch, a late night Anchor Watch at 11 p.m. EST every Tuesday, starting next Tuesday, because today is Tuesday. And I have a very special co-host and a lot of special guests calling in and appearing on the show.
Yes.
It's going to be fun.
And I've been getting a lot of comments about the Kathy Hilton interview. It's dropping tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be set as a premiere, so join us in the live chat, and that'll be 2 hours before we actually go on for Hot Messy Topics before the second part of the reunion. The interview is about 30 minutes long, so I hope you guys are just as excited about it as I am. And for tonight's Hot Messy Topics. So with that, Jason, I appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to Jason's channel, Down with Jason. Don't forget to subscribe here. I'm going to play one last clip of the Kathy Hilton interview, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye, guys.
No, I adore you. I watched you. I came across you. And you're always up and very positive. And your voice, and you're adorable. And I think I discovered you.
I